Are you tired of losing control? Tired of saying things you regret, damaging relationships you care about, or feeling like a prisoner to your own rage? Do you find yourself exploding over small things, carrying resentment for days or weeks, feeling like anger controls you instead of the other way around? You snap at people you love, you replay arguments in your head, you feel that familiar fire burning in your chest and you don't know how to put it out. You're not broken, and you don't have to stay trapped in this cycle of rage and regret. In this video, we'll uncover 7 powerful Buddhist teachings that will show you how to never get angry again. Not just suppress your anger or pretend it's not there, but actually transform your relationship with anger so completely that what used to trigger you leaves you completely unmoved. These ancient principles offer profound wisdom that's more relevant today than ever, especially in a world where we're constantly being provoked by social media, political division, and daily frustrations. If you're looking for real ways to find inner peace, stop reacting from anger, and finally become the calm, centered person you want to be, this is the video you need. Discover how to break free from the chains of rage and find the unshakable peace that comes from true understanding. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on future content focused on emotional mastery, inner peace, and spiritual freedom. Let's dive in and transform your relationship with anger forever. Principle 1. Understand what anger really is. Before you can master your anger, you have to understand what it actually is. Most people think anger is just an emotion that happens to them, like getting caught in the rain, but that's not what's really going on. Anger is a choice, a reaction, a story you tell yourself about what someone else's behavior means, and that story is what's creating your suffering. When someone cuts you off in traffic, you're not angry about the traffic, you're angry about the story you created about disrespect. When someone criticizes you, you're not angry about their words. You're angry about what you think those words say about your worth. When someone doesn't text you back, you're not angry about the silence, you're angry about what you've decided that silence means. The Buddha taught that we suffer not because of what happens to us, but because of our mental formations about what happens to us. Here's what he really meant. You're not angry at what people do, you're angry at what you think their actions mean about you, about respect, about fairness, about how the world should work. So ask yourself right now, what story am I telling myself about this situation that's making me angry? What narrative have I created that's fueling this rage? Write it down, get clear about the story, because once you see it for what it is, just a story, not reality, you can start to question it. Awareness is always the first step to freedom. You've been getting angry at your own thoughts, not at what actually happened. Principle 2. Anger is always about you, never about them. Here's something that might shock you. Other people cannot make you angry. They can only trigger the anger that's already inside you. They can push buttons, but you installed the buttons. They can light a fire, but you provided the fuel. If someone else could control your emotions, that would mean you have no power over your own inner state. But you do have power, complete power over how you respond to everything that happens around you. The Buddha said no one can hurt you without your permission, but how often do you hand over that permission without even realizing it? When someone treats you badly, when they're rude, dismissive, or cruel, and you get angry, you're essentially saying, "Then I'm going to feel terrible because of what you did." You're giving them control over your inner peace, your happiness, your entire emotional state. That person who cut you off in traffic, they're not thinking about you anymore, but you're still carrying their action in your heart like a burning coal. The Buddha taught that holding onto anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. When you realize that your anger is about your expectations, your beliefs, your stories about how people should behave, you can start taking back your power. You can't control what others do, but you can control what their actions mean to you. And when you take full responsibility for your emotional reactions, not blame, but responsibility, you become free because suddenly no one can make you angry anymore. You decide how to respond to everything. Principle 3. Every angry moment is a moment of suffering. Anger feels powerful. It feels righteous. It feels like strength, but it's actually the opposite. Anger is suffering disguised as power. Every moment you spend angry is a moment you spend in hell. A self-created hell that burns away your peace, your joy, your ability to connect with others, and your capacity to think clearly. You might think your anger is justified. You might believe it's protecting you or motivating you to take action, but look at what it's actually doing to your life. The Buddha taught that anger is one of the 3 poisons that create suffering, along with greed and ignorance. When you're angry, your judgment is clouded, your compassion disappears, your wisdom goes offline. You become reactive instead of responsive. You make decisions you'll regret. You say things that damage relationships. You carry stress in your body that makes you sick. Think about the last time you were really angry. How did you feel physically? Your heart racing, your jaw clenched, your shoulders tight, your stomach churning. This is what anger does to your body every single time. But here's what's even worse. Anger is contagious. When you're angry, you spread that energy to everyone around you. Your family feels it, your co-workers feel it, strangers feel it. You become a source of suffering in the world instead of a source of peace. The person you're angry at might not even know it, but everyone else in your orbit pays the price for your inner turmoil. You've been choosing suffering over and over, again thinking it was strength. Now you know it's actually the weakest response you can choose because it gives your power away to whoever triggered you. Principle 4. Transform anger into understanding. Have you ever wondered why that person did what they did? Why they were rude? Why they were inconsiderate? Why they hurt you? Most people never ask this question, they just react. But when you pause, when you get curious instead of furious, you discover something profound. Everyone who hurts others is hurting themselves. Everyone who acts badly is suffering in some way you can't see. The Buddha taught that hurt people, but happy people help people. That person who was rude to you today, they might have just lost their job, received bad news from a doctor, or been betrayed by someone they trusted. That person who cut you off in traffic, they might be rushing to see a dying parent or trying to get to work so they don't get fired. That person who criticized you, they might be struggling with their own insecurities, their own pain, their own fear of not being good enough. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but it explains it. And when you understand the source of someone's actions, you can respond with compassion instead of anger. The next time someone triggers you, pause and ask yourself, what pain might be driving their behavior? What fear? What insecurity? What past trauma might be expressing itself through their actions? Suddenly, instead of seeing an enemy, you see a fellow human being who's struggling just like you've struggled. And in that moment of understanding, your anger transforms into compassion. And compassion is infinitely more powerful than rage. Compassion heals relationships, rage destroys them. Compassion creates connection, rage creates separation. Compassion makes you stronger, rage makes you weak. Remember, we're all walking each other home on this difficult journey called life. Principle 5. Stop taking everything personally. The deepest secret to never getting angry again is understanding that nothing anyone does is about you. It's always about them. Their pain, their fear, their conditioning, their past, their insecurities, their way of seeing the world. When someone is rude to you, they're not responding to who you are. They're responding to their own inner state, their own triggers, their own unhealed wounds. The Buddha taught that we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. Think about it this way. If 10 different people encounter the same rude person, 9 of them might not even notice or care, but one person gets incredibly angry. Why? Because that one person has a story about disrespect, a wound around not being valued, a belief that people should behave differently. It's not about what the rude person did, it's about what that action meant to the person who got angry. You've been taking personally things that have nothing to do with you, personalizing behavior that's just someone else's pain expressing itself. When you truly understand that other people's actions are about their inner world, not yours, you become immune to their ability to make you angry. Someone can be as rude as they want, and you remain peaceful, because you know their rudeness is a statement about their character, not yours. Someone can reject you, criticize you, ignore you, and you stay centered because you know their behavior is reflecting their own issues, not your worth. This isn't about becoming cold or uncaring. It's about becoming wise enough to know the difference between what's about you and what's about them. And almost nothing is about you. Principle 6. Practice the pause. Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. This space is where you break the cycle of automatic anger, where you transform from a reactive person into a responsive one. But this space only exists if you create it. Most people go directly from trigger to reaction with no pause, no breath, no moment of choice. That's why they feel out of control. The Buddha taught mindfulness, the practice of being fully present and aware in each moment. When you're mindful, you notice the first spark of anger before it becomes a wildfire. You feel the tension starting to build in your body. You catch the angry thought before it becomes an angry word. And in that moment of noticing, you have a choice. You can feed the fire or you can starve it. You can follow the old pattern or create a new one. Practice this. When you feel that first flash of anger, stop, take 3 deep breaths, feel your feet on the ground, and ask yourself, how do I want to respond to this? What response would I be proud of later? What response serves my highest good? This isn't about suppressing your anger or pretending you don't feel it. It's about creating space between the feeling and your action. In that space, you remember who you really are, not an angry person, but a peaceful person who sometimes feels anger. And there's a huge difference between those two identities. One makes anger your master, the other makes you the master of anger. The more you practice the pause, the stronger this muscle becomes, until eventually the pause becomes automatic, and anger becomes a choice rather than a compulsion. Principle 7. Cultivate unshakable inner peace. True freedom from anger comes not from controlling your external circumstances, but from cultivating such deep inner peace that nothing external can disturb it. The Buddha compared this to a mountain that remains unmoved, no matter how fierce the storms that surround it. You want to become like that mountain, centered, grounded, unshakable, no matter what chaos swirls around you. This kind of peace isn't built overnight. It's cultivated through daily practice, through meditation, through mindfulness, through choosing peace over and over again until it becomes your default state. Start each day with this intention. Today, I choose peace over anger, understanding over judgment, compassion over criticism. When challenges arise, and they will, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this here to teach me? How can this situation help me grow? Stronger, more patient, more wise?" Every difficult person, every frustrating situation, every trigger is actually an opportunity to practice your new way of being, to strengthen your peace muscle, to prove to yourself that you're no longer controlled by external circumstances. The Buddha taught that peace comes from within, do not seek it without. You already have everything you need inside you to be completely free from anger. You have the wisdom to see through the stories that create rage. You have the compassion to understand why people act the way they do. You have the strength to choose peace even when everything around you is chaotic. You have the power to respond instead of react, to love instead of hate, to understand instead of judge. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional about your inner state, about making peace a priority, about choosing who you want to be in each moment. Daily practice, morning. Before you check your phone, before you let the world rush in with its demands and potential triggers, take 5 minutes to set your intention for peace. Sit quietly and ask yourself, how do I want to show up in the world today? What kind of energy do I want to bring to my interactions? If someone is rude to me today, how do I want to respond? If something doesn't go my way, how can I maintain my center? Take a deep breath and say to yourself, today, I choose peace over anger. Today I choose understanding over judgment. Today I respond from wisdom, not from wounds. This daily practice trains your mind to default to peace instead of anger. Over time, peaceful responses become as natural as breathing. Your mind will try to pull you back into old patterns of rage. That's normal, that's what untrained minds do. But now you have tools. When you feel that familiar heat rising in your chest, when your jaw starts to clench, when angry thoughts start racing through your mind, practice pause, breathe, and choose. Notice what's happening in your body without judging it. There's anger arising. That's information, not a command. Breathe into the sensation, soften around it. Ask yourself, what is this anger trying to protect? What wound is it trying to defend? Then choose your response from wisdom, not from wounded emotion. Remember, you're not trying to never feel anger again. You're learning to feel it without being controlled by it. There's a big difference between experiencing an emotion and being hijacked by one. Evening reflection. Celebrating your growth. Before you go to sleep, take a moment to appreciate yourself for the peace you chose today. Maybe you didn't react to that rude comment. Maybe you chose understanding over anger when someone disappointed you. Maybe you caught yourself getting triggered and chose a different response. These might seem like small victories, but they're actually revolutionary acts. Every time you choose peace over anger, you're rewiring your brain for freedom. Every time you respond instead of react, you're building your capacity for wisdom. Say to yourself, today I practiced peace. Today I chose love over fear. Today I responded from my highest self instead of my wounded self. I'm proud of myself for this growth. Feel the truth of those words. Let them anchor in your heart. This journey isn't about perfection. It's about progress, and every moment of peace you choose is a victory worth celebrating. When others are angry, sometimes people will try to make you angry. They'll push your buttons, test your patience, challenge your new peaceful way of being. This is actually a gift, an opportunity to see how strong your peace has become. When someone else is angry and you remain calm, you become a healing presence in the world. Your peace can actually help calm their storm, but only if you don't get pulled into their emotional chaos. The Buddha taught that hatred is never appeased by hatred in this world. By non-hatred is hatred appeased. This is an eternal law. When you meet anger with anger, you just create more anger. But when you meet anger with understanding, you transform the entire energy of the situation. Don't try to change angry people. Don't lecture them about their behavior. Don't point out that they're being irrational. Just be the peace you want to see in the world. Your calm presence, your understanding energy, your refusal to engage in the drama of anger speaks louder than any words you could say. Sometimes people are angry because no one has ever shown them what peace looks like. Your example might be the first glimpse they've had of a different way of being in the world. You don't have to save anyone, but you can show them through your own transformation that freedom from anger is possible. Remember, you can't control how others show up, but you have complete control over how you respond, and your peaceful response can plant seeds of possibility in hearts that have only known rage. Your choice, freedom or prison. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice. You can continue living as a prisoner to your anger, letting other people's behavior control your inner state, letting triggers determine your responses, letting rage steal your peace and poison your relationships. Or you can choose something different. You can choose to see that freedom from anger isn't about becoming weak, it's about becoming truly strong. You can choose to understand that peace isn't about being passive, it's about being powerful in the most effective way possible. The Buddha spent his entire life teaching one fundamental truth. We become what we think about most. If you think angry thoughts, you become an angry person. If you think peaceful thoughts, you become a peaceful person. If you think understanding thoughts, you become an understanding person. The choice is always yours in every moment, with every breath, with every response to every situation that life presents. You are stronger than your triggers. You are bigger than your anger. You are more powerful than any situation that tries to steal your peace. You are wiser than you know, more loving than you remember, and more free than you've dared to imagine. Together, we've explored 7 powerful Buddhist principles for transcending anger forever. Now you have the tools to respond, instead of react, to choose peace over rage, to find unshakable calm in any storm. Breaking free from anger isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming so emotionally intelligent that you choose your responses consciously instead of being hijacked by unconscious reactions. These ancient teachings aren't just philosophy. They're practical steps you can take today to start your transformation, to reclaim your power, to become the peaceful, centered person you were meant to be. If this video helped you see anger in a new way, hit that like button and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Subscribe for more life-changing Buddhist wisdom and ring that notification bell so you don't miss future videos on emotional mastery, inner peace, and spiritual freedom. Take a moment right now, breathe deeply, feel the calm that's already within you, and remember, you have everything you need inside you to choose peace in every situation. Your peaceful heart is waiting, your free life is calling. See you in the next video.